Hello and welcome to Rise with Crossroads Clubhouse and Moreau Community Mental Health Authority. I'm your host, Desi, and today's guest is Glenn Cross, who works with MRS, and he is also on our Crossroads Clubhouse Advisory Board. So Glenn, tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Glenn Cross. I'm a vocational rehabilitation counselor with the state of Michigan. My background is in psychology, and I've worked with individuals with disabilities for pretty much my entire career. So I really enjoy helping people and providing opportunities for individuals to become the best version of themselves that they can become.
Okay. How long has it been that took you to become to get your degree?
Okay, so God, that's a long time ago, many moons ago when I was young. I went to school to become a recreational therapist. I started off in that area because I was extremely shy and I needed something to kind of push me to be more social. So that was a good stepping stone for me. So I was out there and put me in a leadership role. And then later I decided to get my degree in psychology. So I was probably about 27 when I went back to school and finished my master's program for psychology. Then I worked as a psychologist for probably about 20 years before switching gears and now working with individuals with disabilities to obtain employment.
So could you tell us what MRS is?
So MRS, Michigan Rehabilitation Services, is a state and federally funded agency that helps individuals with disabilities to obtain employment. We work closely with individuals to really explore what they're good at, their abilities, their capabilities, and also getting an understanding of what barriers that exist related to their disability. Not that a barrier is going to prevent them from moving forward, but you have to understand what your strengths are as well as what your weaknesses are so that you can become successful in the area that you're looking into. So Michigan Rehabilitation Services, we provide services, it's a plethora of services. We help people with education and training to gain the skills that they need in order to be successful in the workforce. We help people to gain their work readiness skills, such as what you guys are doing here at the clubhouse, where you are developing the ability to go through a traditional workday regimen of coming in on time, having tasks that you'll complete. And so it's similar to that, where you guys do this at the clubhouse. We actually have individuals go out into the community, and we work with different companies to where an individual can work, let's say, for 4 to 6 weeks and gain some experience working, or maybe do some job shadowing and get some exposure to what it would be like to be, let's say, a photographer in a studio. It's kind of hard to really narrow that down because essentially, when I'm working with an individual for employment, there's not much that I can't do as long as I have a rationale for doing it to help them move forward. So we have people that we support in college. We help people pursue skilled trades such as HVAC, or even just entry-level positions just to get back into the workforce. We also work with individuals who have SSI and SSDI who haven't worked in quite some time because of their disability, but things have gotten better, and they're now willing to take that chance and re-enter the workforce, but they're not sure what to do and how to do it. So my job is to sit down with them and talk about what are their dreams. What is it that they need to do in order to have a successful career working, and then really tease out what the details of that would look like, and then help them to take steps towards that. I'm kind of like the quarterback. The coach, being the customer, says, this is what I want to do, and then I help formulate a play to make that happen.
Okay. So what is your job title and what do you do to help others?
So I'm a vocational rehabilitation counselor. So my primary job duties involve counseling and guidance. That means that, let's say if you were to come to me and say you were looking for, give me an example, what would you want to get a job doing?
I would like to probably work with computers, like something to do with filming example, like what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so that's perfect. So we would sit down and we would talk about why is it that you want to work in that area, and then you would tell me about your passion about working in the area of film and studio and things of this sort, and then we would look at and say, okay, are there opportunities locally if you want to stay in this area where you can actually find employment doing that? If there are opportunities that are local that we can help you do that, or find other employment that maybe utilize some of those same skills, then we would support that goal and help you move forward. Sometimes the job goal does not fit what we call the labor or the market workforce. So that meaning that if there aren't, let's say, I always use NASA as an example. Somebody wants to work for NASA. Well, NASA is way down in Florida. So if they want to do that, they would have to be willing to relocate. If they're not willing to relocate, then we will sit down and say, okay, what can we do that will allow you to utilize your skills in an area that's similar, that's local, to where we can help you find employment. So counseling and guidance is looking at all those things to see how we can get you to where you want to go. I don't work directly with my customers in terms of actually the employment piece. I'm the quarterback again. So what I do is I contract my services out to different companies that we work with through the state of Michigan to say, hey, John Doe is looking for a job with HVAC. Would you be willing to work with them? And the customer would be willing to work with them to explore opportunities in the community, to see what's out there, and to see if we can find employment opportunities. And that's their job, actually contract and pay that person to go out and to help you.
Okay.
Okay.
What are the steps to be successful at MRS?
Listen to everything I tell you to do. I'm just kidding. No, the steps to being successful at MRS is really just following up on things. A lot of individuals have goals and dreams, and sometimes we have to shift our patterns of behavior. So when you're moving from a place where you're not working to all of a sudden you want to work, that requires being able to get up, kind of like what you're doing at the clubhouse, and coming in and committing to looking for a job, committing to putting in an application for, let's say, 4 to 5 applications per week, committing to, if you're interested in school, going out to the college and talking to a counselor to see, what is it like to be, in the college arena again. I am the person that will help motivate, help give you direction, but the customer is the person that actually does all the work. And sometimes in this age, we think that things are just going to come to us. And they really don't just come to us. You guys are really, you guys are just the tool that makes everything happen. So my job is to help you know your power and utilize your power to be successful.
Okay. That is very empowering. What are the steps to how to apply for services with MRS?
Okay, so anyone can apply for services through Michigan Rehabilitation Services. The application process does not guarantee that you will receive services. You have to have a qualifying disability, and the disability has to have some impact on your ability to work. So for instance, if I had arthritis and my job was sitting in front of a computer and my arthritis was in my knees, and I'm like, well, it doesn't really affect my job, well, you wouldn't qualify. But if I have arthritis and my arthritis is in my knees and my job is lifting, bending, turning, twisting, and it's impacting my ability to do my job or pursue the type of job that I want to, then you would qualify for our services. So it's a combination of having a disability and having what we call a functional limitation related to your disability. So once you qualify for services, then we will sit down and do some of the things that we talked about in terms of counseling and guidance to identify a career path and then develop a plan to pursue that.
Okay. So do you work with all different types of disabilities?
Yes.
Or just physical?
All disabilities, behavioral health, physical health, all disabilities.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. And I always put this out there to anyone that I work with. there's such a stigma associated with disabilities. 1 out of 3 people that you walk by every day has a disability. Okay, and so I encourage people to look at it. It's not necessarily a disability. It's just something that's a slight barrier, something that you need to overcome in order to move forward. It does not have any impact on who you are as a person. It's just, okay, this is just a challenge.
Yes. It's just something that we need to work on, and hopefully one day it's something that we may overcome.
Absolutely. So, I'm fully free with talking about my personal issues. I have a disability. I have attention deficit disorder. And sometimes it impacts my ability to do my job. I have to be aware of that at all times so that I can structure my day and keep lists and do all kinds of things so that that's not a barrier. And in this case, my employer is aware of it because I made my employer aware of it so that they can help me overcome those things. So for instance, I have a couple things on my computer that helps me organize my day, or a text-to-speech reader, or things of that sort, any accommodations that I can get to help me not let my attention deficit disorder be a barrier to me in performing my job well. So whether that's depression, anxiety, arthritis, we look at accommodations to work with employers to say, hey, you've got this really good employee, me, and you want to keep them. What can you do to help them be successful? Okay. So we do that a lot too. We'll work with different employers when need be. We work with Myers, for instance. I had an individual that we actually hired somebody to work with that person for a period of 6 weeks on the job to help teach them how to do their job, to help the employer learn how to help the customer or the employee do their job. So do all kinds of things.
That's good. What has the past influenced you where you are today?
Ooh, I think I've surrounded myself with a lot of good people. Your director is one of those people. Being around people that have passion for individuals, have passion for their community, and wanting to see people succeed. That's been a really big influential factor for myself. Prior to that, I would just say it's more innate for me. I love helping people, so it's just always just been there. I just have been lucky to have the opportunities to actually use it.
And so has there been any companies out there looking specifically for handicapped employees for assignments?
That's an interesting question. So, yes and no. Most companies that have a federally funded contract or work with the government in any way, they have a certain percentage of individuals that they have to hire that has a disability. So they're always looking for qualified people. That doesn't mean that they just, okay, you got a disability, come on in. They're saying we're looking for someone to give them that chance. And so if they're working with us to if they're working with us to identify a qualified candidate, my job then is to look through my caseload or look through my coworkers' caseloads to say, hey, so-and-so is looking for someone who has a disability that can perform drafting skills or be a drafter, to be an engineer and use their drafting skills. So then I can just funnel them the type of employees that they're looking for that also happen to have a disability. Not that, again, they're any different than anyone else, they just happen to have a disability.
So do companies, some of them would hire someone with a handicap or a disability, do they get a write-off or?
Oh, you're really good. Okay, so yes, I don't recall the percentage of it, but there is a tax break that companies get for hiring a person with disabilities.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and so my job also is, I haven't had an opportunity to do that as much lately, but also to canvass the community and talk to various companies and to, if they're not aware of that, to let them know that if you do happen to hire someone with a disability, this is another advantage. Not only do you get a qualified candidate who's more than likely going to be more committed to staying with your company because they've not had the opportunities and they're going to be really appreciative, but also you'll get a tax break.
Okay. And then let's change things up to another subject.
Okay.
What are other activities you do for our community?
Well, outside of that, I work with, obviously, I'm part of the advisory board here in the clubhouse here. Beyond that, I try to stay a little politically active and just making sure that I'm aware of what's going on in the community and see if I can help in any way to reshape things so that everyone has an opportunity to be successful.
Okay.
So that a particular organization, not really, but just more broad, just staying active in the community.
So how do you become a advisory board member for Crossroads?
Well, I was kind of blessed there because your director, I've known him for a while and he's aware of my background, and he felt that I would be a good fit for giving the committee some additional information relating to employment that would help you guys move forward.
Okay. So do you think you will, with your skills, do you think you would see us move forward with help from MRS?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, one of the members today we were talking, and my plan is to come in and spend a few hours just going over what we're talking about today, and possibly even coming in on a regular basis, like once a quarter or even once a month, depending on what the need is, to touch base with members to kind of tell them what's going on in the community in terms of employment, for those who are actually ready and willing to look forward and move towards getting employment, getting them signed up for services so that can assist them. But even if they're not ready, still talking about it so that, I keep that in the forefront of their mind for when they do become ready, they know where to go.
Okay. Can you tell the viewers what exactly a advisory board is?
The advisory board is a group of individuals that are committed to the community and committed to the cause for a particular organization, in this case, the clubhouse. So I don't believe there are any specific skill sets. You just want a broad variety of individuals that can give input to help the clubhouse and its members achieve their goals, not our goals, your goals.
Okay. So with that answer, what do you see the clubhouse doing in 5 years?
Well, I think you guys are on a good path right now. I mean, I look at this, and none of this ever existed. When I was back in mental health and working with the clubhouse, I mean, you guys are doing, broadcasting now and shows, and you're doing innovative things to gain skills that would transfer to employment opportunities, maybe outside the clubhouse at some point in time. So that's a huge thing that I see right now, being innovative, trying to find different ways to gain needed skills. So I'd like to see more of that. Also, I'd like to see at some point in time more opportunities for businesses to come in and become more invested in what's going on in the clubhouse. So it's a partnership for the community.
I would like to see more partnership with the community as well, with us, and hopefully that would bring us more closer with that the stigma won't be there where we collide. And hopefully someday hopefully we become not exactly like a family, but have that closeness.
But we should be a family. This is a small community. It's not like we're living in New York City,
Yeah.
So as I said, 1 out of 3 individuals in the community has a disability. And so the more we can educate not only the individual members of the community, but the employers, as well as the individuals with disabilities, I think we can come together and develop a better relationship, and so that they know that this is, well, being the clubhouse, that it's here, it exists, and you guys are a valuable member of our community.
Okay. So, as being on the advisory board, how do you feel about our clubhouse becoming more, I guess, more active or taking more pride in ourselves?
Oh, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Even today, when I came here and you guys were just showing me around and talking about what you're doing with the cable program here, I mean, I was just excited. It was just amazing to see the energy level, the interest. Not just, okay, I got a job to do. There's passion, and when you have passion for something, I think that all things are possible.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Retired.
Retired?
But still working with you guys.
Okay, that's good.
No, actually, that's what I plan on doing. When I retire, I want to come back and then set up my own business, helping individuals find employment.
Okay. That'd be good, actually. That'd be wonderful. Even though you're retired, but still helping the community out there, and hopefully for those individuals will help others.
Absolutely.
And it'd be nice to see everyone helping each other. It's just, you don't see that very often these days. But
I see it here, though. And just even in the brief moment that I was here today, everyone was helping everyone else. And that's what it's all about. It's a mutual journey. It's a shared journey in life. And we can share that journey, and sometimes it's a challenging journey. But when you have somebody that you can bounce ideas off, and you can sit back and say, hey, I'm struggling today, can I talk to you for a minute? Or I had the best day of my life, and this is why I had the best day of my life. And share that positive experience with someone. All those things will help, build a better community, whether it be a community here at Clubhouse or the community at large.
Yeah, I know. With the community here at the Clubhouse, I consider us being a family. Even though we have our days that we fight, but we do handle to get over that. Hopefully we'll show that we have that kindness, and hopefully we're able to show that to potential new members and have them feel like they're family here.
And I know you mentioned earlier too, and I'm happy to hear that your membership is growing. Yes. And I think that's evidence that there's a good atmosphere here, a safe atmosphere for individuals to come in and to work on the skills that they need to work on.
Yes. We're trying our best to be a safe place for other potential new members and our current members as well.
And safety doesn't necessarily mean that everyone gets along all the time, because that's not life. But safety means that I can have a bad day, you can have a bad day, and we can come back together tomorrow and be okay.
Yes. And even if we have a bad day, we should take that day off and feel like, should I come back in the next day? If not, I should have maybe an R&R day. Right,
exactly. Oh, I take, well, we're on camera. I do take R&R days, but I call it, hey, I'm not feeling well today. So it does happen, yeah. And it's okay. Self-care is important. So whether it's maybe you come to work today or come into the clubhouse on a day that you're not feeling as well, but letting people know that, hey, I'm not 100% on my game today, but I came in anyway. And that way, that communication helps people understand why maybe you're not doing some of the things that you typically would do.
I know I've done that sometimes myself. There are some days like I had some bad days here, and like, you know what, I'm going to take the next day or two off because I pretty much just need some time off.
Right. And so even in the workforce, there's a big fear I've experienced with individuals who are looking for employment, who have disabilities. They're so fearful of having those bad days. And, oh God, I'm going to get fired if I have a bad day. Well, I would have been fired a long time ago if that were the case. So we all have bad days, and so we have to recognize that as long as we have a good understanding of what our abilities and capabilities are, and when we're having those bad days, communicate with others and say, hey, I'm struggling today, maybe I need to take the day off, or I'm coming in a little bit late, or I'm going to come in, but I'm going to do my best. Obviously, I can't call off every day, because then that would be a problem. I'm not getting my job done. But everyone's human. Human means that we have frailties. We're not perfect.
Yes.
So.
I know pretty much if you do have a job and you come in and have a bad day, I would probably communicate that with your boss.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some of your coworkers too, because you need them to rely on you as well.
Right.
If you need to have a day off, I would definitely have to tell the boss maybe tomorrow if I could,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and see if he or she will allow it.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes failure is an important part of growth. Sometimes because your physical health or behavioral health, things aren't working well, and you might end up losing a job because you're missing too much work. But that doesn't mean that's the end of it. It just means that you need to come back and try again.
Well, I think that's the end of our show today.
Okay. Well,
I would like to thank you, Glenn, for joining us, and I hope you had a wonderful time on our show.
I did. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This is absolutely marvelous.
And I would like to thank Monroe Community Mental Health Authority for sponsoring us, and I would also like to thank MPAC Studio for providing us this platform. So we hope to see you next week, and please be kind to yourself so we can be kind to others.
Yes. Awesome.
Hi, Crossroads Clubhouse is doing a bottle and can drive for, pop bottle and can drive for the communications program. And we're at the Benish building right next to the Tim Hortons on South Monroe Street. Our address is 428 South Monroe Street, Suite 101. And we are collecting them to hopefully raise for items that we need to edit our videos. And we could collect them any time of the week. And if you can't deliver them, we could pick them up by calling us at 734-243-6401. So we hope to see you soon.